Hello everyone. Oh god, welcome to another Friday and another casual champion review. I disconnected briefly there. I'm not really sure what that was. Maybe that's a bad omen. I mean, I'm fighting mostly diamond players and my opponent is called formerly Diamond. So I'm probably gonna get absolutely curb stomped this game. I can't say this is one I've been looking forward to too much. I am not what you would call a Jayce enjoyer. I don't think I ever play this character outside of if I randomly get him in AR Earth because he's absolutely broken there. Maybe a couple times in ARAM. These ranged bully top laners are just really not my style. Like this way, him, Quinn, Teemo. Though I like Teemo, but I play him in the jungle, so it doesn't count. You know what does count though? Fan arts. Oh, maybe this is awful. You know what does count though? Fan art section. I'm gonna be so late to lane. Look at all those Jayces, the child murderer. We'll get into that a bit later. Especially we'll dive into the differences between normal League Jayce and arcane Jayce because I have very differing opinions on whether I like the character or not. So, but thank you fellas for the fan art sections. It's absolutely fantastic. Thank you. I'm very excited for next week with Jhin. Jin's one of my favorite characters, so I'm excited to see what you guys do with him. So, thank you. It's amazing. All right, this is not going to be fun. I'm playing against Teemo. So, I guess, like I said, like the ranged bully versus the other ranged bully. I'm not sure how this is going to go. I've already lost. Surrender. So, as for Lord, Jayce was raised in Piltover. A bit of an egomaniac. He was proficient in machinery and innovation from a very young age, so much so that everyone kind of found him a bit abrasive. Everything else that he was doing, all his machines and invention he found with complete ease, but all his peers were struggling, and to him, well, they're just stupid, and he's really smart. So he just kind of acts like a bit of an arrogant dickhead around everybody, and because of that, he was ostracized for his rudeness, basically. No one wanted to be around him because he was just kind of an asshole to everybody. The only other person that he ever bonded with was Victor, and that's because they bonded over their shared immaculate intelligence. The more I'm describing Jayce, the more he sounds like he's just Rick from Rick and Morty. But Jayce and Victor bonded over their shared intelligence about what they would do for the future, both trying to better humanity. But they had a bit of a difference in how they thought they would do that. Jayce wants to use technology. Jayce wants to use technology for the betterment of humanity, whereas Victor wants to use technology to fix humanity. And they grew up, they were friends together, but eventually they had a bit of a falling out because of these differences in ideals. Jayce didn't want to be a part of this, even though he's kind of an asshole. He's like, no, I don't want people to be taking their free will away from them. How am I going to be a jerk to them if they can't tell? But time goes on, and the Hextech crystals are discovered, and one of them is brought to Jayce's laboratory. All his peers have no idea how to use them, and so he's like, oh, let me take a stab at it, and he can't figure it out either. And this befuddles him because he is normally so proficient at everything. He knows how to do anything, point any kind of technology his way, he'll know what to do. But now he has no idea what to do, and this kind of kickstarts his revelation. Oh, is this what it's like? Is this what it's like to not know what to do and then being... Imagine being in this situation where you're trying to do something to the best of your ability and you just can't. All the while, you also have an arrogant jackass dismissing you all the time. So he thought maybe I could be a nicer person. That's his character arc. So in his attempt to try and make the Hextech crystal work, he cuts off a piece of it and throws it in lava or something. I don't remember. But he gets it to grow a bright, brilliant light as a power source. And then Victor appears on his doorstep. He's like, hey, Jayce, how you doing, man? I've been keeping up well. I'm a robot now. Also, I think I figured out how to destroy all disease and all hunger and everything wrong with the world. Give me your Hextech crystal. I need it. And Jayce has heard this song and dance before, and he's like, no, Victor. You're just going to remove free will. I won't let you have it. And then Victor punches him unconscious or something. Jayce awakes a few hours later, is now determined to go find Victor. And he thinks, well, I'm going to need something to combat Victor. So he sticks that last little shard that he was experimenting on into a transforming hammer he built when he was a child. And now he goes to go find Victor, finds his lair, and finds out that Victor has killed very many people. He has sprawled their corpses all across the ground removed their brains from their bodies and stuck them in basically metal bodies. All powered by the Hextech crystal, of course. And Victor's doing his, because this week he was a maniacal supervillain. And Jayce is like, Victor, no, don't do this. I'm sorry for being a jerk to you because that was my character arc, I guess. But Victor also sees how stupid this supposed character arc is and decides, no, robots kill this man. And so Jayce fights tooth and nail to get rid of all these machines. Get him, Shaq. Oh my goodness. Oh, that's not... I live, bitch. So in his attempt to stop Victor, he takes the Hextech crystal and smashes it to pieces in a giant explosion. Jayce escapes, but Victor, we don't know the whereabouts. Jayce returns back to Piltover, tells them of Victor's crimes, and he's hailed as a hero, earning the nickname the Defender of Tomorrow, and basically prepares for Victor's return. So Jayce, the best I could describe Jayce is like Tony Stark at the beginning of Iron Man 1, where he is a brilliant inventor that understands machines and technology better than everyone else around him, and is a complete arrogant jerk about it. The thing is, Tony Stark went through an actual harrowing journey. He had shrapnel thrown into his chest. He was held hostage by terrorists, and he learned how to be a better person over the course of several movies, that is. Tony became an actual admirable character over that while that felt like he actually grew as a person. There's a reason for why he wanted a change of heart, for why he wanted to get rid of his weapons, and why he didn't want to be so much of a jerk anymore. Jayce's character arc, essentially, is he was working and realized, wait a minute, the answer didn't come to me easily. Is this what working is like? I hate working. Maybe I should be nice to people because they work all the time. And I'm just sitting here like... Bro, Jayce's character arc is basically like one of those TikTok influencers who do, like, they work their first ever minimum wage job and go home crying because they were working too hard. It's really just pathetic. And it hurts Jayce especially because he has a direct comparison of a different origin story in Arcane, which I think Jayce in Arcane still keeps a lot of his douchey energy. He's still kind of an arrogant jackass. But the thing is, he becomes an arrogant jackass through circumstance. He doesn't start out as this know-it-all guy. He's still an inventor right from the beginning, but he has his struggles too. His partnership with Victor feels authentic, not just, hey, I'm smart and I think everyone else is stupid, but you're not as stupid because you're also smart. Let's be friends. In Arcane, you get to see those hills and valleys of his own self-doubts. He believes he's not worth anything because he's just a stain to his family name. Then he actually begins to invent things with Victor. They create Hextech there. He becomes an actual beacon of progress, not just in his base lore, just, hey, so you told us that Victor escaped, you're now our superhero. Okay. But in Arcane, you actually get to see how his inventions have been helping people with the Hextech gates and all that other stuff, that it feels like he's an actual hero of the city because of the progress he's made in actually bettering people's lives. He feels like an actual hero in Piltover. And then you have the whole arcs with him and Mel, and having his doubts with Victor, and becoming involved in the political scandals of Piltover, and you can see how power is corrupting him, that he's starting to view his own people as less of people, or even the Zonites as completely inhuman. But it becomes more tragic because we've seen how good-hearted of a person he can be, just that some people are not inherently evil, it's circumstance that drives them to do terrible things, and Jayce does, you know, kill a child. That's pretty dastardly, even if it wasn't intentional. But at least here it actually does shake him to his core. Oh, what have I done? I can't do this. I can't get blood in my hands. But then Vi's like, nuh-uh. You just don't you get blood in your hands all the time. You just don't see it. And I like that. Arcane Jayce has actual nuance to his character compared to League Jayce, which is just, there's a Cassid in here? I feel like I'm blind. I did not even notice he was here. Rats! It's a weird situation where I think a lot of the Arcane characters are going to be missing out by having Arcane essentially replace them. I think the whole thing with Echo especially is going to be a real shame to lose that side of Echo's story. But for Jayce, Screw it, man. Nah, get old Jayce out of here. What the hell? I hate this guy. This guy's awful. It was the one thing when they were revealing Arcane. Like, oh man, I know Jayce is a pivotal character in Piltover, but man, does Jayce really have to be in this show? So it was good. I was very pleasantly surprised that they made me actually care about Jayce for once. I feel like he's one of those characters that are just completely forgettable, even when he's prevalent in Pro, which hasn't been for a long time. So it's nice to see that he's an actual memorable character, a lot like Victor even. So as for his design, well, he's certainly Piltover, but he's kind of old Piltover. He was made back in, I want to say 2012. I think 2012, end of 2011. So this is back when Riot still hadn't entirely figured out what the aesthetics of each region was yet. So he feels Piltover because he has the gears, he has the golds, but it's not quite there with all the furs and the random gears on his armor everywhere, the orange glow to a lot of his abilities. It doesn't feel like modern Piltover. He sticks out a little bit. I don't think he needs a very massive redesign. Weirdly enough, I think the Arcane Jayce actually works quite well because he's an inventor. He's not really a guy who goes into battle very often. In fact, I'm pretty sure in his lore, he's only ever gone into battle that one time that he did with Victor. He's more of an engineer. So it'd be like dressing Heimerdinger in battle gear, though I guess he doesn't exactly look ready for battle in this outfit either, but it just looks kind of lame. I'm about to do something really cool here, watch. Oh my. It's also weird that for a champion kind of... What? I don't even know what just happened. It's kind of weird that for a champion like Jayce, who's supposed to be all about Hex Tech, doesn't really look like there's a lot of Hex Tech in his design, you know? He's got the blue particles for half of his transformation. It's kind of it. I guess the Hex Tech is only a part of his hammer. He has the Hex Tech shard, which is going to be interesting when Skarner gets released, which I assume is happening very soon now. They're going to be reworking what Hex Tech even is. I guess because he's already in the Arcane show, that's figured out for him, that we know Hex Tech is just now some magical rock in the Arcane universe. So I wonder if they're going to update Jayce's bio or many of the other Piltover's bios when Skarner releases. I think that would be a smart thing to do if they're going to completely rework what it even is. I doubt they'll do it because lore has not exactly been a priority for Riot Games in the last recent few years. I think with Jayce's design, though, I can't fault him too much. He doesn't do anything particularly awful. He's just, he's just kind of stuck in the past. It's like Darius in a way, where Noxus's aesthetic evolved around Darius. Piltover evolved around Jayce, but they went beyond him. He looks Piltover despite being so old of a champion, but Piltover's aesthetic has gone so far beyond him now that he looks like a fossil into the region he basically inspired. As for gameplay, I mean, there's a reason I don't play him too much. Like I said, I'm not a big fan of these ranged lane bullies. And he wasn't exactly a unique concept when he released either. The idea of the shape-shifting champion, where their ult is, I can't teleport to that, can I? The shape-shifting champion who uses their ult to switch between two different forms without actually having a real ult. It's a cool idea, but Nidalee already existed in the game, and then Elise released pretty much a year later. So the whole thing that would make him really unique isn't really... I mean, it's only 3 champions, granted, but that's a pretty pivotal mechanic to not have an ult and switch between 2 entirely different movesets. I think out of the 3, for me, he's probably the more interesting one. The idea of the shape-shifting hammer that he switches back and forth between the ranged and melee, that feels a bit more interesting than... Wait. No, it's not even unique because they all do the same thing. Elise is ranged, goes to Spider is melee, and then Nidalee's the same thing, is ranged and goes to melee. Feels weird. He's kind of trying to be a mix of everything. He's a long-ranged poke champion and also an all-in melee assassin. I guess the idea is that you'd get both things. Still can't teleport to that. I guess it's a fun option to have an AD character at least instead of an AP one. It's just not one that personally inspired me too much. The inventor idea. His gameplay is represented as an inventor because he has this crazy technology-based shape-shifting hammer. But like, you could have just made him some regular guy who yoinked the hammer. He didn't really have to make it. I don't know. Jayce as a character has never really interested me. he's definitely piqued my interest a lot more with Arcane. I'm actually excited to see where his story goes in season 2, but also excited to see what they do to Victor's character, because Victor is definitely going to change a lot in season 2. I imagine that will put a toll on him and Jayce's relationship, which that was a whole other can of worms, the relationship of Victor and Jayce. And I don't know how much I've talked about shipping on this. I don't know how much I've talked about shipping in Casual Champion reviews before, in my videos in general. My general thought process behind ships is obviously I'm not the most romantic type. So to me, I'm kind of on neutral terms of shipping. Like, people will ship already established couples like Zion and Rakan. Then some people will ship stuff like Setaphelios or Victor Jayce, or some people will ship Lux and Jinx, which I find very peculiar. I don't see it. But the thing is about shipping is it doesn't matter. To me, shipping does not matter. You ship whoever you want as long as you're not hurting anybody, and probably don't do it with the children. That's kind of icky. But if people want to ship whoever with whoever, it's all for fun and games. Who cares? Doesn't hurt anybody. Even if it's, I mean, I find ones in established relationships a little strange. Like, you ship Senna with someone else. A little weird. Leona with someone else. It's not intended to be malicious at all. It's just because people like two different kinds of characters and want them to be together. Oh, wait, there's a Caitlyn on this team? That wasn't lore friendly, but I think it was really funny, all the people shipping Jayce and Victor the whole time. And you can see there was some setup for chemistry between the two of them. Maybe Victor actually has the hots for Jayce, you know, or whatever. And then they had this scene with Mel, and the people who shipped Jayce and Victor lost their marbles. They were so upset. I don't know. I found it funny, personally. Is that bad to say that I found it funny? I found it kind of funny. You can still ship them however you want, man. Like, it doesn't matter. They're fictional characters. Just, if they're comfort characters, do whatever you want, just as long as it's not gross. So I will say, judging from an ace perspective, as someone who's not overly fond of romantic relationships, I do kind of miss the days when not every character was shipped. I personally like Victor and Jayce's relationship more as if they were friends, but it doesn't mean that you're not allowed to ship them if you want to. That's just my headcanon dynamic. As for skins, I am... What are Jayce's skins? He's got Space Pirate. That's not even what it's called, but that's all I remember it by. The one from set 3.5. He's got Arcane Jayce, which was free. That was cool. Jesus, what other skins does Jayce have? Oh my god, I can't remember any of them. Holy, I actually can't remember his skins. Well, I think that's kind of evident. This character, as a League of Legends champion, is just so utterly forgettable for me. If Arcane didn't exist, he would probably, to me, would be the most forgettable champion in all of League of Legends. Probably right next to Xin Zhao, the Spearman, because he's a spearman. But at least he has something memorable about him, that he just doesn't age ever, and they constantly warp around how old he is in every new art he's in. That's kind of funny. But with Jayce, I think without Arcane, he's not really anything. You could say maybe because he's a foil to Victor, sure, but Victor, they don't even know what they're doing with him. Every year, they retcon something about him. Like, now he's a campy supervillain. Actually, he's just a cool guy trying to help people in need. Actually, he wants to turn everybody into robots. Actually, he just wants to help people. This is not lore friendly. So as it turns out, we were not back at all, I think, actually. That was so boring. Game seems to be ending, though. So, I am excited for next week, though. I'm done with Jayce, but next week is not only the first year anniversary of Casual Champion Review, it's my boy Johnny, it's Jin. I'm so excited. Thank you, fellas, for watching this week's Casual Champion Review. I'll see you next week for Jin. Take care of yourselves. Stay safe, okay? Goodbye.